Hey everybody, I'm Nicole Ricci and I am rolling out with my family to Chicago for a weekend of fun weddings and NASCAR street races. So my cousin is getting married in the city and we decided to make a weekend out of it. I think we spent 3 nights in the city and did, of course, all of the classic things like visit the Bean, visit Navy Pier, eat deep dish pizza, go to Stan's Donuts. What else did we do? The Buckingham Fountain. We went to the Field Museum and then went to the most beautiful wedding ever. But the craziest part was there was a NASCAR street race going on right in the middle of the city, and we didn't really get tickets to go see the event officially, but we stood on the fences all along, and wherever you were, you could hear the cars racing. It was a pretty cool event, and to be downtown kind of watching these NASCAR races right in the middle of Chicago.
And we can walk with it. It's 30 minutes. Nicole, take a picture of me and Jess.
Now let's talk about the wedding, because this was the most beautiful wedding I have ever been to and probably will ever go to, and also the most expensive wedding I will probably ever go to. It was over the course of 3 days, starting with a Friday night Shabbat service, and then they did a bunch of Shabbat services throughout Saturday, and then Saturday evening they did a beautiful rooftop terrace event at the Gwen Hotel downtown Chicago, and a Kabbalah Shabbat service ending Shabbat.
There was a flea, a rare flea, rattling flea, and the flea, on the feather, and the feather, on the bird, and the bird, and the nest, and the nest, on the tree, and the tree, on the branch, and the branch, on the tree, and the tree, and the bog, down in the valley.
So let's just talk about the wedding now. The wedding itself has a lot of Jewish traditions. Both my cousin Lauren and her now husband Ben are Jewish, and I think they're Reform, but they did a lot of Orthodox traditions at their wedding. So let's talk about the ceremony and the wedding celebration. The ceremony takes place under a huppah, which is a wedding canopy. Its four-poled structure represents the home the couple will make together. When the bride arrives at the huppah, she walks 7 times around the groom. 7 is a meaningful number in Judaism. In 7 days, God created the world, and with 7 circles, the bride creates the first steps in their union. These circles encompass herself and her groom, outline the boundary between them and their onlookers, enclosing their new family in a circle of husband and wife. There are also many other meaningful moments in the ceremony, but the most transformative is the giving of the ring occurs early on. The unbroken circle of the wedding ring signifies eternal commitment in the cycles of life. In Hebrew, the groom says words declaring that he and his bride are consecrated unto one another, and then he places the ring halfway unto his bride's index finger. By allowing the passing of a breath of time, the bride accepts the ring, thus joining the couple in marriage. Another significant element of the wedding include the reading of the ketubah aloud in its original Aramaic, the groom's giving of the ketubah to his bride, the Sheva Brachot, the 7 blessings, and the groom's breaking a glass. The 7 blessings was one of my favorite parts. It was multiple members of the family coming up and blessing the newly married couple. At the conclusion of the ceremony, guests erupt into a joyful song, Siman Tov Umazel, Mazel Tov, and dance the newlyweds to a private room for Yehud, time alone as a married couple. After 10 minutes, the couple will emerge for family photos and then the reception. And then they had a first dance in Ketzira Mer Akidim, which is dancing to make the bride and groom happy. And this is after the newlyweds are announced and enter. The bride will join the women on the side of the mechitza, which is the divider in the room, and the groom will join the men on the other side, and hurrah-style circle dancing will commence. Everyone is welcome and encouraged to join just fun dancing. There's no special steps. And the bride and groom dance in the center with one or a few others, and everyone else makes rings of circles to dance around them. Near the end of the dancing, the bride and groom are hoisted into their chairs and then placed at the end of the dance floor. Guests then form a large half circle in front of the couple and take turns dancing into the middle to entertain them. This dancing is often boisterous and silly and may include props. Dance alone or do acrobatics. Kind of what my family did is we're on the Irish side of the family, and so we did a little Irish jig. But this was part of the Katsim Merrick Kadim, which is the guest dancing to make the bride and groom happy. There are also a few pre-ceremony traditions that I wanted to mention, including the Kabbalah Panim, which is the receiving of the guests, and that's when the bride and the mothers are seated in the south hall of the Kabbalah Panim. And it was just a room set aside with beautiful flowers, lots of hors d'oeuvres, an open bar. And Lauren and her mom and her aunts and her mother-in-law were seated, and they were giving blessings to us all. And so we just came up and they blessed us. And while we were doing this, the men were doing Katan's Tish, which is the groom's table. And so at the same time the bride is greeting guests, the groom and the fathers are seated for a special groom ceremony on the right side of the main hall. Near the doors leading to the Kabbalah Panim. Preceding the marriage ceremony, the Tish is a festive celebration with food, drink, song, and words of blessing. The Tish includes a Tanim engagement ceremony in which the two sets of parents pledge their support for the couple's upcoming marriage. The Tanim, the document, is signed by the fathers, and then together the mothers break a plate, signifying that just as the plate cannot be broken, the new connection between the families will never be undone. Next is the singing of the Ketubah, the marriage document, the signing of it, and the groom signifies his acceptance of his content by raising a pen in the air, and the document is signed by two witnesses. Then the men will come in to the Kabbalah Panim and veil the bride, the Bedikin. At the conclusion of the Tish, the men at the Tish dance and sing the groom over to where the bride is seated. In a very meaningful moment, the groom lowers the veil over the bride's face. The parents give the bride and groom special blessings, and then the guests are invited to go to the main hall and take their seats, and the wedding ceremony happens. So this was the moment where I just bursted out in tears as the men came in just with such energy and dancing and excitement, and then this special, precious, pure moment of Ben veiling Lauren, and then the families, the parents blessing them and praying over them. It was just a special, special, pure moment. Yeah, and then we pretty much just danced the night away. Thank you so much for watching this vlog. I will see you in the next one. Bye!